Welcome back to another episode of the New Era Podcast. I am your host, Courtney, and I'm excited to talk about this episode. It's going to be very transparent. Hope I don't cry, child, but we're going to get into it. But before we get into it, let me tell you what the New Era Podcast is all about. It's a fresh space where we talk life, love, growth, money moves, marriages, relationships, mindset, and everything in between. This is where real talk meets wisdom, humor, and those conversations that help you grow through what you go through. Whether you're navigating relationships, leveling up in life, or just need a word, you're in the right place. It's time to thrive. It's time to align and embrace your next era. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, we're going to get into this episode. I'm sure you already seen the title. It's called Shut Up. That is bold, honey. I remember growing up, I didn't tell my kids they couldn't say shut up one to another, honey, because it just sounds so disrespectful. Well, we're going to talk about that because a lot of times you've been told to shut up, and it could have been nonverbal. It could have been nonverbal. So I want to let you know that your voice matters, but sometimes your voice will come under attack, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and even generally. Today, I want to walk you through how I realized my voice was a threat and how I chose to protect it instead of silencing it. Your voice matters, but what do you do when it keeps coming under attack? For a long time, I didn't even realize how much and how many ways my voice had been challenged, silenced, doubted, pushed aside, honey, like I was nothing, and even medically impacted. See, when I was a little girl, I was told I talked too much. Y'all know. Y'all probably got it too. You talk too much. You got poor conduct. I didn't even know what it was like to get an E for excellent in conduct, honey, because they stayed with F's for failures or D's or whatever they called them back then. But really, I wasn't that I talked too much. I was just expressive. I was bold and alive. And over time, piece by piece, I learned to shrink. At 9 years old, I was silenced through trauma. I was told, what just happened to you? Don't say nothing. Can't tell nobody. At 13, I tried to silence my own voice by taking my own life. At 16, I married someone who didn't even honor my voice nor honor me as a person. In the church, I learned to sit quietly unless I follow the rules made by man. Because sometimes, honey, if you got out of line, you were silenced. And now, decades later, I'm fighting through thyroid nodules, even vocal strain. The enemy doesn't just come for your peace, he comes for your voice because your voice has power. It breaks cycles, it births healing, it frees people. And I believe this episode is going to do just that for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I wanted to break down everything so we can have some subtitles, topics that we're going to discuss. So I first want to talk about what started with my voice, my vocals. Back in December of 2023, me and my husband were going on a trip and we were going to Miami for Christmas. And my husband is a big Miami Dolphins fan, honey. If you don't know, now you know. So this was his first game that he ever been to. And he was excited, and we all was excited. But child, this man caught the flu probably a few days before we went. Oh my gosh. It ain't nothing like being sick when you about to take a vacation. That is horrible. Especially one that you can't cancel. Because we were driving to Miami from Alabama, driving to Miami, which is about 11, 12-hour trip one way. We also went ahead and reserved our condo there. bought the tickets. So of course we just finna just like press our way through. So on the ride, he hacking. I mean hacking, honey. He driving and hacking because he wanted to drive. I was like, Lord, I hope I don't get sick. You know, I tried to take all my precautions, my vitamin C, which I do all of that anyway, but got to the room, all that stuff. I think it may have been because we got there days before Christmas, and then like we probably got there on a Thursday or Friday and the game was on a Sunday. So we wanted to just kind of, of course, travel, you know, go through the streets of Miami and enjoy it before the actual game. So I end up getting sick, y'all. So now I'm hacking. I got a fever. So we like in the bed sick, hacking, coughing, hacking, doing all the things, taking the medicine, all that stuff, sweating the fever out. And I was like, ugh. I mean, it was a nice condo if you ever wanted to be sick and shut in, child. That was a nice condo to be in. So once we got over that, we pushed through, we made it through, came back home. It seemed like my voice was never, ever the same. It always felt like something was like stuck in my throat or something like that or whatever. So after seeing all the doctors and everything, going back to my endo doctor, and for him, I listen, you need to check because I've had thyroid nodules for, I don't know, 10 plus years. And it's always been under surveillance. So I've always had them checked, made sure that, they didn't get no bigger, all that stuff, whatever. So, that's something that I've been seeing for a while. But it wasn't until this time till he was like, yeah, I do see that they haven't gotten a little bigger because I've been dealing with the voice strain for like since December 2023. On top of that, in that same month, a close friend of mine passed away. So all of that could have had something to do with the dynamic in my body at that time. And some people may not even notice that I seem like I have a strain when I talk because it don't seem like it's there all the time. But I just know my voice has been under attack and it hasn't been the same. So now I'm in the process of deciding whether I want to have surgery or what to remove the nodules. So when I say my voice has been under attack, it's been under attack. Because when I go into big settings, and you know how you have to talk loud just so somebody can hear you, just say you're at a concert or somewhere where the music is loud and stuff, I can't do that. And that was fine before December 2023. So now that's when I say my voice, my vocals, of where I am now is under attack. So now I'm at this place where I have to make a choice. And it's going to be a choice because your girl got to talk. Like she got to be able to use her vocals. So not to sing, honey, but to use my vocals. So now I want to talk about something else that was current. A while back, I did a podcast and talking about things that probably me sharing my life sometimes will make other people uncomfortable, especially if they are a character in my story. But regardless to the point, it's my story to tell. And so sometimes people will try to silence your voice through intimidation. But please be clear. I cannot be intimidated. I won't be intimidated. And you what will not silence my voice. You got to understand. And if you're listening, whoever's listening to this, sometimes people don't want you to share what you've been through. They don't want you to share your story. They don't want you to talk about maybe how of a horrible person they were in your story, but it's your story to tell. I'm not going to ever name names. For what? I'm not going to ever name names. But just know that can't nobody sue you for telling your story. Do you know how many biographies Books out here, like people are telling a story on their real life, and how many books have been sold on them telling that story. They never name names, and sometimes they may put a fake name in replace of a real name. But that story, that book has transformed people's lives, and it has helped, inspired, encouraged, transformed. So whenever I'm talking about my real life and I'm sharing a story, it's not to defame another person. It's not to be malicious. It's not to be mean. It's just for me to share my story so that somebody else may be free, may be set free, may realize, dang, I went through that too. I'm going through that now. This is how I can overcome. So I said that to say that when you get to a place where you're going to use your voice to encourage others, somebody might try to silence that voice, but they can't. They can't. Don't let nobody intimidate you on telling your story. You have a voice. You've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. You've been through things. Tell your story. So now let's go back. At the age of 9 years old, I experienced a lot of things that, if women would be honest, they experienced when they were a child. And y'all can fill in the gaps. I'm not going to use the actual words, but you can kind of use your imagination. So that happened to me when I was 9 years old. And after the attack, it was like, don't tell nobody. You can't say nothing. Because if you say something, this is going to happen to your family. So I'm talking about all the ways that my voice was silenced. Little by little, big by big, it was basically telling me, shut up. At 13 years old, dealing with the trauma of me, of what happened to me when I was 9 years old, and now going into high school, I didn't feel like I even mattered as a person, as a human. Like oftentimes I ask God, like, why am I here? Like, what is the point? Like, I am just taking up space and air. At 13 years old, I didn't feel significant. I didn't feel like my life mattered. Like I felt worthy of anything. I didn't have a gift or a talent. I just like, why I'm here. So that at the age of 13, I tried to take my own life. Well, as you can see, it didn't work, honey, because I'm talking to you. But I'm grateful it didn't work, because I wouldn't be here inspiring so many people, encouraging so many people. So grateful. So if you're in that place and space, please don't. You just wouldn't understand how much your life matters, how much you are an inspiration and encouragement to somebody. I don't even care what age you are. If you're at the age of 13, you're young in life and your life is just beginning. At the age of 13, I hadn't even tapped into what my life was. It was just beginning. But I felt like it was an utter failure. And I felt like God made a mistake in making me. Like, did you really make me to go through what I went through at 9? To be traumatized mentally, emotionally, physically? And here I am, some years later, having to endure high school, not feeling accepted, not feeling wanted, not even feeling like I matter, not really having like friends. Like, it was rough. It was rough. My mom, and I know people come from broken homes and, oh my gosh, my mom was this and that and this. My mom wasn't like that. I actually grew up in a nice household. My father was not in my life. I mean, my mom and dad got divorced when I was way young, too young to even remember. But I would visit my dad from time to time. But that was when I was a little girl. So when this happened to me when I was 9 years old, I needed my dad. I don't even know if he knew. I think he knew, but it was kind of like a taboo to talk about, so to speak. And so I needed that. But my mom was everything. To me and my brother, like she did her big one, as they say today. She did her big one. And she made sure I was like emotionally, coddled, so to speak. Probably too much, honey, because I probably was a little spoiled Jack. So it wasn't that. It's just that I didn't feel like I belonged like in the earth. But I want to say this. I think also felt like I didn't belong in my family. And the reason why, because my mom, very smart, very intelligent. Like, ooh, child, very smart. Brother, very smart. And so I knew I was in a household full of smart people. Hello, Jesus. God the Father. Hello, that was not my ministry. It's all like they is smart, smart. Like my brother, which is a few years older than me, like he can go to school, not study for a test, honey, and pass. I go to school, try to study for the test and flunk. I was like, I don't need this for the rest of my life. Why am I here? So not only did I not fit in school, I didn't fit in at home when it came to academics or, my brother could automatically draw. My mom could draw. Like I'm saying, Hoppo, who these people? Like that's why I didn't fit in. I didn't fit like I wasn't smart like them. I wasn't talented like them. All I knew was how to be funny, honey. And I got that from my daddy. And so that's what I base like my life on. Like, okay, y'all got gifts and talents. Y'all can draw. Y'all small, honey. Y'all can read a book and then pass them tests and all that stuff like that. That's okay. I just be funny. So I use that through school as well. Well, I got put out a lot of classes. Okay. So just trying to find me. So at the age of 13, I wanted to end it all because I wouldn't fit in nowhere. So at the age of 16, I ended up meeting a man that wasn't good for me at all. But because of what I previously been through, I wanted to feel some safe, some place of security. So I ended up marrying a man that probably in that moment probably could physically protect me, but that was it. Couldn't mentally, spiritually, like could not protect me. But it's because the little girl was looking for refuge. She was looking for protection. So in that, my voice was already silent from the age of 9, from the age of 13, even just not being able to verbalize how I felt, not even getting therapy through the trauma to be vocal. So now I'm shaping my life on a girl that been silent and silenced. So that marriage lasted for almost 20 years until I found my voice. It took me that long to find my voice in that because I was silent. Not necessarily for what he did, but what I allowed. So now, at the age of 25, I ended up giving my life to Christ and going to a church. I didn't grow up in church. I wasn't churched. I knew my grandmother, like I used to see my grandma read her Bible. And I think that may be what attracted me just to like, reading my Bible. My grandmother used to always play church music like in the morning time, like early morning. And she had on gospel station until whatever station she listened to back then wasn't all gospel, honey, until they played the blues after that, child. And she cut it off. So when we went down to our grandmother's house, I used to see her, read her Bible, and I didn't disturb her. And I know she used to probably say things that was, Christ related things around because my mom, we didn't grow up in church. So she didn't take us to church here and there, honey. We went to church on Easters and Christmases. Them the only time like some of y'all go on Easter and Christmas. No judgment. No judgment at all. Honey. So that's when we went. And I was like, I felt kind of weird like going into church because we didn't have like at one point we had a church, I guess that, we went to on them twice a years. But I think as I got a little older, I was like, shoot, I'm embarrassed. I don't go to these like these folks don't know me like that. Like they know I'm a stranger, right? Yeah, like it just became weird, and I think eventually she stopped doing that. So I didn't grow up in church, meaning I don't know all the church lingo. I didn't know none of that. So when I used to see my grandmother read her Bible and stuff, and I don't know what she said to us. Maybe we need to read a Bible. I don't know. But I would go in her room and I would get her little Bible. And y'all know those little bit of, like, I think New Testament Bibles that, back then I could read them. Right now, it could be a little struggle. And I would read certain parts of it. But I know what really I read is like around Christmas time when we talk about the birth of Jesus. I read that. And a lot of it had to do too because of what we saw on television. Like we saw, more of Christian things, Christianity things, Jesus, the Bible, all that stuff on shows and stuff like that. So they would do the uh the nativity scene. So I ended up, I was like, okay, I'm interested in that. So I would go and read and stuff like that or whatever. So I found my way through that. So when I gave my life to Christ at 25, because like I said, before I was in church before that. I think as a young adult, I was going, to church here and there, but I wasn't dedicated. I just wanted to hear the choir sing and tip out, child, because the preacher, he finna hoop and holler, and I didn't want to hear that. It wasn't none that was attracted to my ear or spirit. So I was like, I like that music. Let's rock. Let's okay. He finna preach. I don't know what he's saying. And I don't understand that. Excuse me, Usher. Let me leave. So when I got saved at 25, and I know that I said that 3, 4 times. Let me come back. So I got saved at 25, and I actually like I was like, okay, I'm liking this. It was non-denominational church and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm liking this. And I gave my life to Christ and it has been on and popping. But it did not come without its tribulations and trials. It didn't, honey. It did not. So me being saved at the age of 25. And y'all, this would be another whole nother podcast. But I'm just gonna briefly talk about it. My voice was often encouraged to speak. to preach, to teach. Y'all, I like when I got a hold to who God really is. And I know in the Bible said taste and see. When I tasted it, when I tasted it, I was like, oh, oh my God. Oh, this is really good. God, like you're good. So when I started exploring the Bible and reading all the Bible stories about David and Goliath and Delilah and Joseph, and just reading all the stories, I was so intrigued. I was like, oh wow, this is who God really is. And as my relationship with God was just transforming, I was going from level to level, spending time with God. Like I literally wake up to this day and spend my time in the presence of God. Like that's like drinking my coffee. That's like eating my food. Like I it's a need. It's a have to. It's a want. I have a desire to do it. That's where I get my downloads, my informations, my next level. This is okay, God. That's how I get all of that. So I was encouraged to use my voice. I was encouraged to speak. I was like preaching a couple of years, if not less than, until I got saved. Like I'm a fresh baby, honey. I am just like loving this Jesus thing, this Christian. I am fresh because I didn't grow up in church or nothing like that. So this is all new to me. So I was encouraged to preach, and I was preaching, and God was moving. But there is a twofold. I was also encouraged to shut up. You're doing too much. Yeah. I was encouraged to do that too. And like I said, all stuff ain't verbal, although some was. A lot of it was nonverbal. I was verbally told, I just don't like you. I don't know why. I just don't like you. I'm talking about in church. This mic on. Tap, tap. In church. I was like, So when I started feeling all the vibes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the shunning, the jealousy. Y'all don't think jealousy in church, baby? Yeah, it is. Because of me just being me. You know? I was enjoying this space and place of where I was vocal. I was expressive. But I was too much for a lot of people. Like, how you coming in preaching, girl? We've been here 20 years, child. I'm not saying this was what was said, but you can feel energy. How you coming here and preaching like that when we been in church all our life and ain't preaching like that? I'm just telling you what I felt was some of the congregants was saying. Child, I was even not liked by leadership, the pastor, for many years. So all of this is what's silencing my voice. It's making me take a step back like, hey, who am I? And why don't people like me? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it about me? What is it about me? And I get it. I ain't for everybody. I'm not. But whoever I am shouldn't irritate you. Like, I can say a lot of people, ooh, they're a lot. They ain't for me. You know, people I may see on TV, they're a lot. But it shouldn't irritate you. Like, it don't irritate me. That's who they are. You know, they may not be, I may not see a friendship with them. You know, they may not be somebody I'd be like, I want to be your best friend. but that's who they are. They're embracing who they are. I learned not to talk about people that dress a certain way. I mean, you know, it just depends, But I mean, somebody that's embracing their creativity in their dress. Let me say that. Like a whole bunch of colors or stuff that don't match or however they choose to dress or because that's their way of expression. That's who they are. So again, I was silenced. All of this start putting me in a place of shut up. In fact, shut the hell up. That's where it started putting me in a place of Courtney, you're just too much. Then you start thinking, you talk too much. Oh, I've been told that. You talk too much. You don't know when to shut up. So we can take this stuff, we can analyze it. And we started like feeling like, am I too much? Am I over the top? Am I too extra? Baby, I am. I am. That's who I am. And that's not the part of, sometimes we can say, ooh, child, that's who I am. But that's a part of some stuff you need to work on because that's a toxic trait. That's an unhealthy trait. If I'm around here gossiping and tearing other people down and da 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 da, and I say, girl, that's who I am. No, no, no. That's a toxic trait. That's a unhealthy trait. I'm not talking about that because there are parts of us that we need to work on, get therapy, counseling, coaching. We need to work past that because that's not a healthy trait. That's not a healthy trait at all. But I'm talking about things that is a part of you and you love it. And you know God has called you to be creative and different and unique. Baby, you people trying to mimic you, honey. You are the blueprint. I'm talking about that. So people are trying to silence that. But you are anointed. You've been told that you are annoying, but baby, you just anointed. That's it. And do you not know that that anointing that's on your life, it irritates the hell out of people? And what I was getting a lot of times was my anointing was irritating the hell out of people. So when people told me, I'm talking about church folks told me, I just don't like you. I don't know what it is. It's the anointing. It's the anointing on my life. Of course, I didn't know what it was. I can assume, yeah, it was the anointing. But for a person to really tell you, I just don't like you. And for you to see leadership just don't even want to see you coming, honey. They don't even look in your direction. All of that does is put you in a box. And it makes you shrink. It makes you shrink. Even when you're not trying to, but it does. So it makes you want to silence your own voice. And I'm going to say this. Even when it comes to people that have been in and out my life. And I'm debating where I am with this right here because everybody can't handle me 100%, 100 proof. And what I mean is that all of the things I got going on, my aspirations, the things that I do, the moves that I make, all that stuff, sometimes it intimidates people. But it's just what I'm doing, y'all. Like, this is my life. I'm consistently try to consistently move, elevate, next level, next tier, whatever. So when I'm talking to somebody and I can tell they're just uncomfortable, like literally uncomfortable with my moves and stuff, then y'all, I don't share. Like, and I don't know if that's shrinking back, and you can drop down in the comments, you can tell me, you can DM me. I don't know if that's shrinking back. But if my goals, aspirations, my next level makes you feel uncomfortable, I don't have to share with you. So I'm in that where people say, honey, share, honey. Don't shrink back. Don't dim your life for somebody. I'm not dimming. I just choose not to share. Because at that point, I don't know if now I'm making an enemy. Right? So some stuff you just got to move in wisdom. Because now, if I'm sharing my journeys, and my journeys may be things that may be public, but maybe you just don't know. And now I see, you starting to feel uncomfortable. Okay. I ain't trying to create no enemies, child. I got enough of them, secret or not. So let me just shut up. I can see you can't take where I'm going with this. I can see you can't take me. You know what I'm saying? 100 proof. So instead of me diluting it to make you feel comfortable, let me just shut up. Let me just take it back. You know what I'm saying? So y'all, I wanted to encourage you. You know what I'm saying? This was a transparent moment for me, and I'm going to give you many transparent moments. This wasn't just a one-time thing. It's going to be a lot of transparent moments that I give. But I wanted to discuss that because somewhere you may be silencing your voice. But I know for me, my voice has been under attack. From the thyroid nodules to somebody telling me, shut up. Are they going to file a defamation lawsuit against me? I'm like, okay, good luck. Good luck, Jack. So silencing, people are trying to silence your voice. Why? Why? Can you tell me why? Because you got something to say. Because your life is going to transform other lives. Because your voice is going to transform other lives. Y'all know this podcast is called the New Era Podcast, right? Right. Because we're transforming over here. We're coaching over here. We're inspiring over here. We're encouraging over here. We're not here to diminish and talk about nobody and run nobody's name through the no. My story is gonna help the next person. So when I look back over all the years that my voice was trying to be silent, I know now that God has always wanted to use my voice to heal a nation of people, to deliver a people, and to inspire, empower, and impact a people. So, baby, it's too late now. It's too late to silence my voice because I know my voice matters. On that note, you guys, this has been a wonderful podcast. I thank y'all so much for listening. But before you go, I want you to reflect on something. Where did you last silence yourself? And more importantly, what would happen if you gave that version of you permission to speak again? If this episode spoke to you in some kind of way, send me a DM or send me an email at Courtney at the New Era, spelled just like this podcast, TheKnewEra, ERA.com. Courtney at TheKnewEra.com. Send me an email. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your story. on how you are finding your voice or how you're going to find your voice. And if you're ready to reclaim your power in the next season of your life, make sure you grab my book, Swipe Right After 40, Dating Online After 40. Y'all, it is a great book, I'm telling you. And I got something else coming in store concerning that. And don't forget to check out our merch. Go to our store, coedwear.com, KOED, wear, WEAR.com, and purchase your merch. Y'all, I've started a new collection called the New Era Collection. The New Era Collection. So in that collection, you will find motivational t-shirts that are impactful, inspiring, motivating for sure, y'all. And it speaks volumes. I love me a good statement t-shirt because, honey, it tells me where I am. It'll tell you where I am and how I feel about a situation. So y'all make sure y'all do that. And y'all, I will be starting. I am a certified coach if you didn't know. And I will be starting coaching sessions one-on-one. So make sure you stay on the lookout for that because that is where we really get into some things. And I will be coaching my clients one-on-one. And we'll be working through some things, talking through some things. Yeah, it's going to be great. Now, I want to say this in signing off. This right here, this podcast, this New Era podcast, this is for the woman who's ready to step into her new era. Not new, N-E-W, but new, K-N-E-W. Because deep down, you always knew who you were. That's it for this episode of the New Era Podcast. Y'all, I'm delighted. I'm excited about the next episode that's coming up. We're going to talk about grief. We're going to talk about grief in that next episode, you guys. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you follow, you subscribe on all the different platforms. So this is a syndicated podcast, so you can get this on all your major streaming podcast outlets. So comment, DM me, and let me know where you are and where you are in finding your voice. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next podcast. Deuces.